Test, test, test. How about that? Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's reset. Man, I made some funny jokes in there. I always assume that, which I assume you can see me now or hear me now. I think all my best humor happens when the mic's off. I'm rather confident of that. Well, I am Drew Wash. I am a domain developer, and I'm just going live. Just kind of spur of the moment. Decided late last night that I'd go live because there's so much interesting activity happening. Because what we're looking to do is buy some domain names for the purpose of development towards the end of 2021, and we've started to think about what it looks like to what our business plans are for the next year. And what I've kind of come up with is, we have a lot to do on our primary business, towing.com and some others. But then what we want to do is take some time to, we're going to start developing tools that we can rapidly launch our new sites, new domain names. So basically, long story short, we're looking for domain names that we can purchase now for the purpose of development next year. So I've decided to, I got my lunch here and probably got stuff in my teeth. Yeah, probably got stuff in my teeth. And I'm just going live here to look over domain names that everybody out there on Twitter they're bringing to me, as well as, let me see, as well as just to, research some of the domains. And, I'll talk a lot. I'm a talker. I got the gift of gab, especially when it comes to just talking to you in a camera. So everybody that watches on Mondays at 3:00 when I do Domain to Profit knows that I just ramble. So let me just say this, a couple of rules or a couple of things that I will keep, my Twitter feed, it's already public. So anything publicly posted on my Twitter feed is fair game to be shared out. Anything in direct messages, don't worry, I don't plan on sharing my direct messages. So any of the prices, any of the domain names that people have brought to me privately, you're going to, it'll be protected. I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that none of that gets on the screen. So just figured I'd share that out. So here's what I'm looking for. Let me kind of just read off a little bit of the tweets. If you follow me on Twitter, which possibly if you're on Periscope, you'll see what I'm looking to do. And here's Lee saying, lots of .horse domains. Yeah. So with this said, with Lee saying this, let me kind of go over what I'm looking for. A lot of questions being asked on what kind of domain names that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for .com domains. So no .horses. Lee, sorry, you'll have to keep your amazing .horse portfolio to yourself. I'm looking for mainly .coms, things that we've already been able to prove work on other development projects that we've done. So .com, we're looking for 1 or 2 word domain names that ideally describe a local service, especially if it defines a local service as far as in event space. We own DJs.com, photobooths.com, others. My brain's going dead on that. So I'm all for domain names that kind of fall in those event space, as well as transportation. So transportation. So we already purchased, just this morning, I purchased ductcleaners.com. So the guys that come into your house and will clean out your air ducts and things if you have central heating. I purchased that domain name this morning from Peter Askew, a development buddy of mine. That's exactly what we're looking for, ductcleaners.com. Lots of local companies around that that do this service. That's what we're looking for. And so here's a little bit of why. Like, why are we doing this? So the development that we do in particular is about taking a premium domain name that lots of companies would love to have and share it with a lot of local companies. So that's exactly what we're doing. Ductcleaners.com. nearly every company out there that would probably that does duct cleaning would love to own a domain name, but instead we have it now, and we're going to share that out to those industries using just basic development. So I'll talk a lot about, I'll probably ramble about this kind of stuff over time. So cool beans. So I can see the chat on YouTube, Periscope. There's always going to be a delay on there. So one of the things, one of the domains I was looking at, and I'm talking to Jason Shepard, which he is shared here. He's moved over to YouTube. Jason has banquethall.com. So I've been messaging with him a little bit, talking about possibly getting that one, which I love the domain name. It's right in what we're looking for. His price is, pretty reasonable. Basically what it comes down to though is I can't spell banquet. I don't know if anybody says a banquet. So it's kind of like on that one, it's like, man, I'm just torn as to, that one's, it's kind of on the list, but I doubt I'll probably act on that one as part of what I'm doing, Jason. But yes, anything you mention in direct message, I don't want to necessarily say. So anyhow, so let me just say a little bit. So maybe you don't have a domain to sell. Maybe you're just wondering what this guy is live streaming and just talking about. So let me just talk a little bit about how almost anybody can kind of get involved in this mission that I have, a little bit of taking premium domain names, sharing with the industries, because there's a lot that can happen. It's basically entrepreneurship, helping entrepreneurs. So one of the questions I got was, are you interested in partnering? I've had several people ask that about some of the domains that they have, like, hey, you may not be interested in buying this, but are you interested in partnering? And the answer is kind of yes. Like, we are open to partnering. It's probably going to be towards the end of next year when we start to have tools available and have some processes in place to help us partner with several different people that are looking to develop domain names and things. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be trying to do. So, and maybe how you can possibly, whether you're just an entrepreneur, somebody that wants to start a business, whatever it is, possibly get involved. One of the things that we're going to be looking for is what I call an industry champion. This is going to be somebody, for example, I bought ductcleaning.com or ductcleaners.com just today. And as you can imagine, I have very little interest in duct cleaners. But realistically, somebody out there may already be running a business that's doing it. And they may love it. They may see some big vision for the domain name. They may want to be involved besides, in addition to being just a company listed on the site. Well, if that's you, if you were like a duct cleaner and you're like, hey, it's my business. The work is what it is, but I love running my business, cleaning people's ducts. And especially right now, I imagine with all the COVID stuff going around, there's going to be a lot of business happening next year or currently. So if that's you, you might be what I call an industry champion. Come up with a better name some other time. But so I'm looking for people that are really passionate about an industry and want to kind of champion that industry. So, for example, maybe you're a DJ that really wants to curate and help build a community of DJs on DJs.com. Boom. Maybe there's something that we can do there. Maybe you're, like I said, a duct cleaner, photo booth operator with photobooths.com. Any of our different sites, we love to build the site, create an opportunity for small businesses to grow on them. But realistically, those specific businesses are not what we're in it for. I'm in this to help as many small businesses as possible get started, to grow, to use the internet, to kick some butt. And speaking of kicking butt, I want small businesses to not be reliant on Facebook or Google or some behemoth company. I would much rather them be able to get direct customers without needing some giant company. Like, right? Like it's a David versus Goliath. Like, David took on Goliath. He took on the giant, but he still needed the stones, right? He still needed the sling to take him down. Well, basically, we want to be the stones or the sling. We want to help empower the small businesses of the world to take on the big businesses, to not be so reliant on them. They do good stuff. We need them even, but hopefully that all makes sense. So an industry champion might be something that we're looking to bring on. So what would an industry champion, kind of what I picture an industry champion doing? Just making a note real quick. An industry champion would be basically the business operator, the person that gets some form of kind of commission or is incentivized to grow that business. So we put together the technology, we put together some of the basic marketing, and their job is to crush it and run this business and grow it like crazy. Because realistically, we can build it, we can get it started, we can prove the concept, we can do so many different things for it, but it's going to require somebody that's really passionate and has an energy that we're not going to bring to some of these industries to do more with it. So number one is industry champion. So maybe you own a domain name that we're not going to purchase, but you've always wanted to develop it out. I'm hoping that by the end of next year, probably the beginning of the fourth quarter, end of third quarter, we might have a couple tools that we might partner with people. So we are developing tools for us internally that will allow us to kind of point our domain name to our set of tools and then build our portal sites on. So the tools that we use, like photoboost.com, on there's a company directory, a location search to find companies in a specific area. They can customize a profile, add images, answer frequently asked questions. They'll be able to post jobs. There's basically all the common things that people do on their own website. We're going to also have on our site with some cool little tools and things to help them save time running their company's internet marketing, as well as give them another path for the public out there to find their company. We're going to have these tools to where they can start to, we point a domain to those tools are there, and now they get going, that getting going process, getting started. So that's what we're looking to do. And, an industry champion would take kind of those first customers and grow that industry. But maybe you have a domain name that you're like, man, it's like Jason in Banquet Hall, for example. There's all these different event halls and banquet halls that are out there. Big money, not.com, for example, lists all kinds of banquet halls all over the place, event centers, and they want to get business without paying not per lead, not.com, every lead or tons of money per month. And they don't want to pay Google for all the different, give them just they pay a monthly fee to join this industry portal, and then you just let them freaking do their thing, do their great work, rock it out. That's what we're putting together. So hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to go over to my screens here. And I'm going to try to see if that shares out. Okay. I'm going to try to share out some of the my Twitter feed, and I do have work to do that I'm going to do while I'm on the stream. This stream's not there's no prepared content. It's just very much, I think there's some interesting stuff that is running through my head as I'm running through these posts and these domains. So why not share them out loud? Because realistically, I'm not going to I'm not going to respond to every single one of these posts. We've, I think, gotten darn near 100 different posts or lists of domain names. So I'm going to kind of just go down through here. So here we go. Let me see. Amar, love you, man. Does great stuff. Two domains that are pretty sure he'd love. Uh, and this is exactly so. Amar is asking about partnership stuff. That's yes. We've talked to several people that own a freaking amazing domain names, probably darn near $1 million domain name type thing. That yeah, you can sell for $1 million, which is awesome, but realistically, you value, and this is the thing so a domain name's worth $1 million because it's a great domain name, it's great real estate, prime real estate. Yeah, I get that a lot of people don't want to run businesses and stuff, but essentially what we do is we share that domain name with the industry, let it go, and making $1 million a year from a domain name that's premium, it's a lot of work, and especially if you're starting from scratch, it's a pain in the butt. But like for what we do, we've already got 20 years of experience figuring this stuff out. Getting to $1 million on a great domain name, I'm naive, but seems like it's pretty easy. Like we can do it. Like it can be done. So yes, absolutely. This goes to we're open to partnerships. We will get official about partnerships. Let me switch up the big camera again. We'll get official about partnerships down the road, though. So probably maybe June we'll start to. I'll talk about it off and on, but like June we'll start to maybe like put out a form like, hey, what domains do you have, and we'll start to talk about that stuff a little more in detail. Amar and anybody else that's looking to part. I've had several people that have brought some really great domains to me that I'd love to be a part of, but we just have so much to learn still, so much to perfect. We're big fans of, taking what we're doing a great job at it, bringing a lot of value, and we want to do a good job for our customers. And then what works, we're wanting to apply to other domain names, including other people's. So there we go. There we go. Okay, so let me see. So yes is the answer. I'm not sure if you're watching tomorrow. I'll kind of let me bookmark your. How do I bookmark this thing? So I'm adding that to a bookmark so I can come back to it later and send you a message. Looking down through these lists. Let me share my screen here. So looking down through these lists, this is exactly what you can see over on Twitter. Given the criteria that we're looking for, which I've talked a little bit about it, local service, transportation's one of the main areas we do. So that's like towing is of course our big one. We're not really looking for a towing domain name, but we're always open to it. Auto repair, we're looking in that industry. Home services like duct cleaning, duct cleaning, ducts, not duck cleaning. We're not taking care of wildlife. Okay, anyhow. So as you kind of look down through these domains, you'll see a lot of these that are on my screen. Let me try to. A lot of these that are in my feed are just not going to be something we're interested in doing, especially if they're not .com. Like some of these are so like they're good domains, can be developed out, but just not our key stuff. So yes, glutton for punishment. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Cart recover. If you see one that you think is awesome, feel free to reach out. These are all guys selling their domains. So I have just so many messages. Jeez. And I'll get quiet at times just because I'm processing these things. And I'm going to eat some food. I don't know how long I'll be streaming, so I don't want to starve. So you get to some of these domains like this list here. There's some good domains in here, just not necessarily in the realm of what we're looking for. Conference or like self shipping. I'm sure there's searches for that. Voice repeater. They're kind of those near miss type domains. And I am open to trading. I have some great domain names. You can see my portfolio pinned to my profile. A couple, like especially any domains that are not domains that are similar to what we're looking to do. Consider like idemo.com, remote game. Anyhow, like we have a really good gaming one. It was like anyhow, remote gaming, I think is what it was. They were calling when when games were just starting to like show up and be played through the internet. They were calling it remote gaming, and we ended up having remotegaming.com. And I'm going to pull out my cell phone so I can look at my DMs because I do not, like I said, I want to respect everybody's privacy that's DMing me. So I'm not some rude millennial that's. Oh, here we go. I was going to reach out to you, DMBX. I'm gonna message you. I'm curious about foam cutters, but the foamcutter.com is kind of a funny story, I guess. Basically, so this here is I cut this out of like styrofoam, as well as other logos and things. I've cut them. So when I saw Foam Cutter come across here, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to reach out to him. Just likely won't be the buyer, but who knows? Maybe I will be. It's I have a college. I'm a college student, and I have an interest in doing foam cutting for a project or something like that. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I am curious about that domain name, more for the hobby side of it than anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and message him while I'm here. Not message. I'm just gonna comment. Anyhow, so we'll see. Uh, maybe he'll have something that's in the price range of what I'm. Downside is it'd be for hobby. Everybody's going, oh sure, college student. Anyhow, okay, where were we? Cleaning automation. Interesting. And if anybody sees something in the feed that I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get to the bottom of this thing. If you know one that I should see, uh, like I said, like, oh man, if like janitorial service, if that was a .com or something, that would be something I'd be interested in. Avoid like these lawyer domains. I kind of avoid. I've had a couple people bring some DM me about interesting domains for lawyers, but like I don't have good experiences with lawyers. They don't seem to like me very much. Actually, I took the LSAT. I was going to go to law school and become a lawyer. I love the law. I don't like rules very much. And like on this one here, I don't know if Justin is watching or anything, but like some of these are just like they're so like they're close to being pretty good domains, but I have a bunch of these too. These are these domains that are just like they're close, but they're not the home run domains that are uh, probably really going to sell anytime soon. But nice way to say it. Hopefully, I love this stuff. Like I don't want to be the bad guy, but ultimately, you know. I mentioned med schools, like Barman brought this one too. It's like I love freaking med schools, great domain. It's just I don't necessarily like you know people that are going to be a doctor. They know the med schools. I don't know how I would create a business for that. You can create a service for it, but I don't know if you can if they buy leads or anything like that. Buyproposal.com. It's funny how you after you've been doing this for a while. Like if I was doing this in front of my wife, she'd be losing her mind because she always says I scroll so fast. It's kind of like you get you get so you get so good at just kind of seeing it, knowing what's going to work and what's not. And I'm sure I missed some stuff. This list, of course, they're just showing off here. They have some good ones, but none of them that were in the arena that I was looking for. They're like business services, for example. It's a touch generic. I think we own maybe the singular of that. We own a couple of different things that are close, but they're good domains. Just some of them are certainly priced out of the range that we'd be interested in, but they're also just not those local domains that we're looking for. Okay, let's see. Hopefully, we get to something that I've not seen yet, so that way I can. And I love like Apollo 13 would never buy it, but how cool is that to own that domain? Back at NamesCon this last year, the domain name conference, I bought I think earthling.com. Is that what it was? Anyhow, I bought like earthling.com and I quickly got rid of it, but what a cool I didn't buy it for any reason other than it's just a cool domain. Like Apollo 13, you own like the .com version of that story. Autos for hire, all rental penthouses. That's a little bit of a mouthful, but that's pretty like George here, like was that God? It looks you look like Godfather 2 in that image. I don't know if that is the Godfather 2. Anyhow, rentalpenthouses.com, possibly do something with that. There might be search traffic for that. Panda Tours. So, little shout out, like if you're not aware, I'm guessing the a lot of my common guys, my main core group are watching, have me up in the background. Um, but I do every Monday at 3 o'clock. I get on for an hour and talk about domain names and domain name developments. Specifically, I look at domain auctions that are available and happening that week and talk about what I would build on that domain name or possible business ideas. So, kind of just fun idea type chat. Hopefully, at some point, I'll get to where I can bring on guests, which actually I kind of would love to. I can test out bringing on guests. If anybody wants to pitch me on a domain name or something, let me know. I can send you a link and we'll experiment. I feel like I'm giving all these different when people develop logos, it's like they're getting a free banner advertisement to the 25 people probably watching or just when you thought you were done. Chris brought the spade.com and I'm not going to Google it, but is that like pet spaying, like spade? Bob Barker'd love that domain name. I hear you laughing, Chaz. I agree. Like I half want to go to it to see if Bob Barker's up on Spade. I love How I Met Your Mother and the episode where Barney Stinson goes on the Price is Right because he thinks Bob Barker's his dad. Hopefully, you can't hear me eating. and of course English only on some of the domains or on all the domains. Show additional replies, including offensive stuff. I like the offensive stuff. You ever wonder why they ever like that's offensive? Why is that offensive? Way to go, Twitter. That's definitely not all of them. Okay, what am I missing? Am I missing anything? Anybody see anything? So, again, just kind of summarizing a little bit, I am here live and we're looking through domain names as they come into Twitter. And I am looking for domain names to purchase for the purpose of developing them at the end of next year. So, basically, what we do is I run a company that develops domain names, and we're looking to. We have some extra cash. I would love to. I'll go on a little bit of a rant and just say, I know for a fact that cash is going to be worth less, like going forward. That's why a lot of people are buying Bitcoin. Rather than buying Bitcoin, I'd much rather buy domain names because I know that I could turn a domain name into a business, into something that helps actual entrepreneurs and stuff. So if you're going to spend money and you have the opportunity to build a business, then why not get domain names? So that's kind of what we're looking to do is, so we're looking for single word, industry defining domain names. Think towing.com, think bartenders.com, 2 words fine as well, photobooths.com, towingcompany.com. We bought ductcleaners.com just this morning. We're in that realm. So those are the things, .coms in English. Those are the kind of domain names that we're looking for. So I am pulling up my, I want to look through my notifications and messages privately rather than sharing a screen. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not like completely ignoring the world and tweeting. Actually, that's not true. I am tweeting, but I'm not completely ignoring the world. Okay, make sure I'm not sharing out my screen here. So I'm looking. I have a couple private messages with large lists of domain names. Oh wow. And unfortunately, I can't tell you what I'm looking at. Some great domain names. I'm guessing they also know that this is probably a brokered list of, and these, like some of these domains, I pretty much can guarantee are out of my price range of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the max area, and it would be like a true industry defining domain. We're looking like low 6 figures, so certainly not the upper. Not not looking for anything mid 7-figure range, but there's certainly some of them in this list here. Someday we will be purchasing domain names. I've had it on my kind of my radar, a few domains that I think will be the domains that will pay $1 million for when we end up getting around to it. But when you buy something for $1 million, you gotta that stuff has to get plugged in. The system has to be in place. When we launched towing.com, we bought towing.com, put my house in the line, and flew out to California. Had trouble making payroll and all kinds. So, long story short, though, we managed to have a revenue stream to generate a couple $1,000s a month from day one. Before we even turned that check over, we had a way of generating a couple $1,000s a month. But that domain name was, it was like 175. So paying for that, it covered all of our expenses right off the get-go. So when you get into 10 times that amount or 5 times that amount, you're looking, you got a little bit of a break even bar that's going to be pretty tough to hit. I'm going to put that up on the screen, Lee. But Lee has a message. I'm close to completing homebarber.com. If you think there's a joint venture or if you per free up capital, sell your plurals. Do I own the plural? I did get that or something. Anyhow, I remember we talked about something like that came up to auction. I was going to bid on it. Homebarber.com, homebarber. And I went and homebarbers.com was sold. I think I got it on Afternic. So, okay, let me tell the story behind this one. Homebarber.com was coming up for auction, I think, on GoDaddy. And I just was kind of curious. I like the plurals a lot of times for the business model that we do. So I looked to see what homebarbers.com was going for. And I think it had like an Afternic price of like a few $100s or something. I'm like, boom, I bought that up. And I'm like, now I'll be able to get the singular. Lee ended up getting the singular. Yeah, absolutely, Lee. Like realistically, that one is not on my list of top domains to develop. I don't know when that. So at NamesCon this year, January next month, I'm doing talking about 3 different subjects. I'm going to talk about kind of the first step of what you should do if you buy a domain name for development. Just a simple thing. Number 2 is going to be kind of doing a soft launch, how you can start to make your first money from your domain name. That's going to be one of the things that I'm going to talk about in part 2 of that series. And then part 3 is going to be a little more of the, like, what's the full launch? What's the next step, like the full launch of a business on a domain name? I think each one is like really short. So we'll see how much content that I can get out there that's going to be useful. I know that first one is going to be a good one. So anyhow, if you're going to NamesCon, it's an online, go, check it out. So 3 talks I'm going to give on those, as well as each Monday from Domain to Profit. I talk this stuff constantly. So sorry, I'm still looking over lists that have come into my direct messages. And as I said, direct messages, if you message me, I'm not going to put it on the screen. I don't want somebody's private information, pricing and things that maybe they don't want to have out. I don't want to mention it. So. Kind of domain name we're looking for. Unfortunately, I wish I could just tell you what I'm typing and what the domains and stuff are. I'd love it. Feel free to just message me on Twitter or comment on Twitter if you're willing to. But if you DM me, I'm going to keep it private. So So again, wheeling and dealing. This is like live wheeling and dealing. If you're up for it, I can even bring you on maybe as a guest just to test the guest features of the live streaming. Let me see here. I'm going to put this up on the screen just because I got a couple more comments coming through. If it comes up, there we go. A bunch of remote domains. Does that say remote assistant? Oh, okay. Whew, I was about to say remote assistant. Remote, kind of near misses on those. Lobster boats. Healthcare today. Okay. Okay, taking that off again. And come on, there we go. Put it back on me. Put it back on the moving camera so I can go to my messages and not show who's. I love this industry. Domains are fun. Domains are fun. Business is fun in general, like entrepreneurship. My audio gate. Okay. So yeah, my audio is always whack. Always a little funky. So, okay, looking through messages on Twitter. Thanks for everybody like bringing some great domain names to me. There's like I said, got duct cleaners today. I have a couple more that I'm interested in. I'm gonna be reaching out to, but they're all through messages and emails and things. So I can't. I'm just kind of respecting the privacy of people. I've passed on a couple of domains that I like. So when you look through like your portfolio or even mine, there's so many like domains that are like great domains, but they're near misses. Like one of the I think possibly the oldest domain name I have in my portfolio is a domain computerarmor.com. And I freaking love it. I got it back in college. One of those nights sitting around at a kegger buying domains because that's just what I was doing back then. And I loved it. And I was selling spy software at the time. And I'm like, oh, computer armor. This anyhow. So that domain's been in my portfolio for 20 years. And it's like realistically, I don't even like I would never buy it again, except for if somebody messaged it to me, I'd probably see it and go, oh, that's a good domain and be willing to buy it for a few hundred. But of course, held it this long. I want to do something with it or sell it for something more than what it's worth. Okay. Here we go. So Jason has banquethall.com was the domain name that I was considering. You should take a survey to see how many people can spell banquet. And I think it might just be your struggles with it. And that's the thing is like I'm just a notoriously bad speller. I just can't spell. It's that's it. And the nice thing is that's it's a good thing that I can't spell because what it does is it keeps me from buying domains that I can't spell. Like even duct cleaners, like I had to go check and make sure. So I'm going to share out my screen again. I'm going to trying to remember, was that singular or plural, Jason? I'm gonna. Oh! Sorry. Did not mean to pull up my messages. So, my goodness, I'm a disaster here. I'm showing all kinds. Let me get my screen off. Okay, my point is to show some SEMrush on banquet halls, but I need to. I want to make sure I get it. Singular. Okay. he responded. So here we go. Okay, now I'll pull up my screens again. Anybody that's stalking it, I don't know what was on my screens there. Hopefully, it was nothing that. Okay, so banquet hall. Look, I mean, this is good stuff. 30,000 exact volume, cost per click, just under $2. U.S. volume is high. India, I guess they go with banquet as well. Banquet halls near me. It's going to be one of the keywords that we would end up going for. It's actually I don't know if I ever mentioned this. So we're now in an office. We're in like this 200-year-old historical building, just north of Cincinnati. It's still Cincinnati, but just north of Cincinnati in Sharonville, which I own Sharonville.com, by the way. But anyhow, so we're in this building here, and we rent space. We rent the second floor of this building. Well, when we moved here, we moved from a building that we owned that in the back side of it had a banquet hall. It had this big, like, I don't even know, 7,000, anyhow, a big space that handled several hundred people for parties and events and weddings, and numerous people got married there, wedding receptions and stuff. So if I still owned that building, Jason, I would probably have taken action on. I didn't know you own that domain name. I would. Yeah, it's a good one. I think the guy that owns event halls, event spaces, or something like that, he reaches out pretty. We're gonna work together on DJs.com at some point. So I don't know, Jason. I'll have to revisit this. Seeing these numbers, the plural is developed. Yeah, that's true. I like that. So I'm looking at Jason's comment here, which was the plural's developed. So plural being banquet halls with an S.com. Copyright showing is 2008, meaning they don't keep it updated very well. And it is developed. So kind of curious as what they have possibly worth pursuing. If it was like event hall, and I'm guessing event hall is not even as good. It's just more spellable. Let me see what event hall looks like. Event hall. What else do they call them? Event hall, banquet hall, reception hall. So yeah, the volume's even less. Huh. Jason, I'm kind of talking myself into it, man. Make some notes and stuff. And that one I'm going to have to talk to the missus about as well. So here we go. I'm going to go look at, let's go check out banquethalls.com. So we're doing a little bit of the research that, not even a secure certificate. That's usually a pretty good indicator. So banquethalls.com. Yeah, old site. Contact us. Reach out to this guy real quick. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I'll get back. I'll reach out to you at some point. Because I'm kind of liking it. Off the, yeah. See, this is kind of ideal. If I can get them both, then that would be. I like that. Okay. I wish I had something. Gosh. Keep pulling open the wrong tab. Okay. So yeah, I got your I'll it's going to be funny. Like I'm going to do all this, have all these domains, 100 some domain people posting domains to my Twitter feed, and then I'm going to end up buying from all the guys that I talk to all the time, which is just kind of, I guess it's just how it works. I guess that's just how it goes. Up. That's kind of funny. I was just talking about those domains. And I'm typing out a message, obviously, out on Twitter. And luckily, I'm not sharing the screen, which is a good thing. That was one. Okay, sorry. Somebody just messaged me and good stuff, but I can't share it. It's all the private stuff. Okay, so let's see. I saw a domain name that crossed my path that I'm looking for now, and I can't remember if it was on the feed or not. So I can't. Oh, here we go. I could show this. So I just remember I just was mentioning the a couple people that I know that have event domains. So Elliot Silver here is he has eventplanner.com and eventmanagement.com. So those go right in line with those banquet hall type ones. So they're definitely good ones. Event planners are a big one. I don't own many non.com domains. But some of the ones I do, like I've been paying wedding.app, I own. I got wedding.app thinking I could create an app that's basically something that puts people in contact with the different wedding related services. So DJs and a bunch of different things. So yeah. So, hey, yes, we are. Rick is asking if we're live. We are. So yeah, we're live, but it's just an impromptu one. Like I said, I got my lunch here, got my coffee, probably got food in my teeth and stuff. This is very impromptu. I'm buying domain names, Rick. So I posted out on Facebook that I'm not Facebook. I posted out on Twitter that looking to buy some domain names. 5-figure, even up to 6-figure domain names need to close by the end of the year. That's kind of one of the key things. And just kind of live going through a bunch of the domain names that are being mentioned. So everybody's all like, yeah. Anyhow, a couple people are, loving the event related domain names that Elliot posted up there, which I like event planner. Like if it was plural, which is so backwards. Most people they want the singular. Like if you're an event planner, if you run some business that helps people plan events, they all want the singular. But the way that our business works, we share a domain name with as many local companies as we can, a bunch of people. We like the plurals. The good news is plurals are usually cheaper than the singular because of that, because we're one of the few people that want to buy them. Well, it lowers the price for us, but at the same time, anyhow, let me just give you this little bit of here's a Drew tip for you. I love domains that end in ing, ing, towing. There is no towings. It doesn't share value with anything else. It is what it is. It's an action. It's industry defining word. I love ing at the end of a domain name. Like, would you rather have runs, or running.com? Yeah, it's nice to have a short domain name, but what's better, run or runs? And they share value, but running.com, there's action to it. There's an event, and you don't have to worry about there being a plural that you have to share it with. So there you go. running, or ing is a key one. I love ing when I can get it at the end of a domain name. So event planning, good one too. But yeah, Elliot obviously has some great domain names: event planner, event management. And Elliot, I don't know if you're watching this, but for the most part, like event planner, I'd love it. Hopefully we can maybe partner on it, but I'm guessing it's going to be outside of the price range and my interest for it. So maybe somebody else on this feed or something will be interested in grab it. So let me. I'm back to my messages, which, again, anything posted publicly, I'll share, but private stuff I'm keeping private for the discretion of the people sharing deals with me. And Peter's one of the guys I'm messaging. He says that I can share them, basically like inspectorschool.com. And I was telling him, like we own Building Inspector. I can't remember if it's singular or plural. See, that's the difficulty of having a freaking domain name that could be singular or plural. But we own like buildinginspector.com or buildinginspectors.com, one of those two. And I just was sharing, like, I love those. I'd love to have those kind of domain names. We own movingcompany.com and several other domains that are related to moving. So we don't really do much with them yet. But as we launch them, I don't have Skycam set up. Long story short, it's great when you're developing a business if you can have a success and then hub and spoke it off. So towing.com successful. Well, let's go ahead and launch this other related website. And oh yeah, this other successful site intersects with it. And finding domain names that connect in some way to a successful project, boom, like that's it, right? That's gold. That's kind of what you're looking for. So this winter, we're going to be launching, we're going to have trucks for sale on towing.com. So towers will be able to buy and sell tow trucks on their website through towing.com. And we also own heavyduty.com. This is kind of where I'm going with this. We own heavyduty.com, both hyphenated and just singular, or heavy duty. And one of the industries that we want to go to, that we will go to, is like heavy equipment moving and moving like those giant earth moving machines and stuff like that. It's a niche industry that we would love to do that's kind of tied to towing a little bit. A lot of the companies that do towing are related to it. And actually, you have towing, we have heavy duty, but then we also have another site, which is transportreviews.com, which is companies. That site shows ratings and reviews of vehicle movers, vehicle transport companies. And so these are the companies that run the big car carriers and move cars nationwide. Well, so the thought is we have towing, lots of traffic, transport reviews, lots of traffic. And then both of the companies on towing and transport reviews, some of them provide heavy equipment moving. So now we'll have customers to allow us to launch a new site somewhat, I won't say easy, but it will make it easier. We have customers to pull from. And that's always a fun piece of things. So as we launch movingcompany.com or relaunch it, and we start to develop that out, I would love to have something to go with like home inspectors, building inspectors. That's why I got ductcleaners.com from Peter earlier today. Those things, when you move into a house, what are you going to need? What services are you going to look for? Now we can launch the site and have these hub and spokes and do some partnerships and things to help with the marketing and bringing customers onto the site. So, and Lee's just saying, hope we do more of these. Fun to watch. I love seeing lists of domain names. Yeah, you have to weed through a lot of the garbage. There's a lot of garbage domains out there. I wish I could kind of grab people before they register some of these domains and be like, hey, don't waste the $10 on this. Don't do it. I don't know. We all have hopes and dreams though, right? And you see people buy domain names for cheap and then somehow turn around and make thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. And you kind of think, why not me also? And tough stuff. So instead they waste hundreds on domains that are never going to do much, but they don't know that. All they feel is their hope. It's can't argue with people for hope. Hope's what keeps us all moving forward, especially on a year like this, right? Like if you don't have hope this year, some vision for a better year next year, a better day tomorrow, then what's the point? I'm an entrepreneur, so I have lots and lots of hope. I'm like, in fact, we're we're in the middle of hiring a digital marketer, somebody to kind of help with our digital marketing and stuff, which is part of why we're looking to buy domains. Is I actually think that we'll be able to make money on them in the future when we launch the businesses. And as we're doing this, like the first interviews, I'm not even present because every single person that I talk to, I see the potential that they have. I have a hope for them in their life. I like anybody that I ever talk to. Hopefully, I'm a pretty positive guy because I don't know. I freaking think we can all do awesome things. We can also take naps all day, but hopefully, you want to actually do something, create something also. I'm going to say goodbye to the missus, so I'll be right back. Okay, I just said anyhow. She's heading out. This is my wife, and she's always behind the scenes. And I just figured I'd show her to you guys.
Make me come on.
Yeah, make her. Okay, I'm going saying goodbye. Alrighty. So that's the misses, the behind the scenes. So as of this point, there might be a delay any big transactions. In fact, one second, let me run. Okay. So Jason, I was just asking her about banquet hall. I forgot to mention that to her. So uh, she's like me, man, wishy washy on it. Like we're not like it's just banquet. It's just tough. So everybody in my office. Let me see. Here you go. Oh yeah, no. This is Matt. Matt's one of my coders. Yeah, she did not like coming onto the screen, but she's okay with it. She's at least I didn't make her talk or anything like that. So I asked her about banquet hall, Jason. I can't. I would love to be like on live, like be like, yeah, let's do this, and we do it over the air. unfortunately, I'm just wishy washy on it. So, yeah, Drew's left his computer. Yeah, I usually don't leave it unlocked because I once had a well, first of all, I mention this every once in a while, but back in college, I used to sell spy software. So we would code spy software and stuff, and by spy software, I should clarify, um, it would be something that you could. The legit uses would be people being able to monitor their kids' internet activity and stuff like that. The illegitimate would be spy and people spying on their spouses and all that kind of stuff. Well, back then I went out to meet with a business that was interested in uh, where the heck was I going with this? Long story short, I was talking to somebody and I kind of made a joke about. Oh, yeah, I got stories all mixed together. Okay, I was talking to a competitor that I'm really like I'm a friendly guy. If I meet you in person, like we can have a drink, chat. I love this stuff. So he's a competitor, but I don't really sweat competition or anything like that. Like I'm just who I am, and I'm talking to him, and I'm just kind of like, I'm like, hey, well, if you want, you could use my computer real quick and check that out or whatever. He's like, you'd let me on your computer, and he was telling me like why that was a bad idea, and I'm just sitting here like, dude, like. Yeah. Anyhow, needless to say, I don't let people on my main computer anymore. Like, I don't really care to have spies. Okay. Let me see here. Reading the comments that you all see in the chat here. Rick telling us about some a domain name that he I think sold. So yeah, it's fun. Like I love selling domain names and seeing them developed. Like that's it. If you want to buy one of my domain names, like you have to develop it. Like I'll cut it. They'll if you want to buy a domain name, there's the price I'll sell it for, and then there's the price I'll sell it for if you're like going to guarantee that it's like developed quickly. Like I don't know. I anyhow, I have so many things I wish I could say that I want to say, but I know everybody watching is on the other side of it. But dang it, domain names are land that are made to be developed, and we get in the way of the progress of the domain name so often. And it's kind of like if somebody can develop it and bring value to the world, like I just feel like we need to create a path where that can happen more, to where the domain names are real estate that, if it's a good place, what happens? A tent goes up, right? Some guy parks his van and starts selling stuff out of the back of it. And then a real business goes there, a small shack. Next thing you know, they're building high rises. But nonetheless, there's business that's happening from that real estate. And I just wish that happened with domain names, that there was a small development that brought value to the world in some way, business was happening, and then it could scale. And that's part of what I was talking about at names kind of I want to talk about, which is just, what you need to do first when you buy a domain name, but then like, what's a soft launch look like? What's it look like to run a shack or sell oranges out of the back of your car or something on your domain name? And then what's it look like more to move it towards a full development, to where instead of the purpose of our landers and stuff being to sell a domain name, like how can we bring value to the world? And at the same time, look to sell the domain name. That's soft. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, here you go. This is so Super Brander here bringing up assessing. Like, I love that. Like, that's a good domain name. I don't like the fact that it starts with ass. And so I would, like I see that and I couldn't spell that either. I'll just tell you, it took me, I think I just learned how to spell entrepreneur last year. Like I always switch the E and the U somewhere in there. Anyhow, I'm just like, so yeah, I would never get one of those S's and I'd always get it wrong. But I like that domain like that. I would rather have that than assessments, assess, assesses, like assessing, boom, great domain. So yeah, it's not something I'm of course looking for this, but I like assessing. I love the ing. I'm what do they call it? I'm bull on ing domain names. Okay, let me see. Yep, Jason. See you, man. I'll let you know if we what we end up doing for banquet halls. But Merry Christmas to you as well. I appreciate you so much. You guys rock. So that's what I love about domaining. I think I've told the story about how I've been buying and developing and doing things with domain names for years and years and years. So 20 years or more as of this point. And I went to my first NamesCon, which is a domain name event. And I did that 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago at all. And here it is, this guy that works from his small office, kind of isolated, all on his own all the time. And then I go to this conference and like, there's all these other domain name nerds. And I'm like, oh my God, I found my people. And I think it was possibly it was when I bought DJs.com. So I think it was year 2 of me going to NamesCon. I sat next to Jason Shepard, who's just so happened to be a DJ. So I bought DJs.com at that auction, 6-figure domain name, was just high excitement and stuff. I'm sitting next to a DJ, Jason Shepard, and it just like it was his first NamesCon. And he had the same thing. And now if you follow Jason on Twitter and stuff, like super great guy. There are all these great people that just want everybody else to be successful, but of course want to take care of their own as well. Anyhow, I love this industry. We have a lot of good people. And I think that's part of what I'm hoping that will happen over the years is we're good people that want to run businesses, make money. Well, we can do that by also creating businesses to, add value to the world. So let me see. Yeah, I mean, anyhow. So what we're planning on doing, I'm just, again, checking through messages. So you're getting part attention. What we're going to be doing we've actually been working on it for several years now. Just kind of the underlying, like what needs to go into this. We are going to develop a tool first to let us develop our own domain names. We've been working on this for a while. And if you watch From Thought to Profit, which was a couple years ago, we're able to develop a domain name into a basic business. We're able to do that pretty much within a week or 2 weeks. Like it can happen very quickly. It's very beta, so it's very it's pretty buggy. It's alpha, like it's buggy. It's not perfect by any means, but it's developed, and you can sell it, and it can be used by a bunch of people. Which the only thing is what we kind of determined back then was, and this is what a lot of people ask me about when we develop domains. Is developing, it's one thing. A lot of people get stuck on the development part. Developing, it's one thing. That's actually the easy part. What the hard part ends up being is the launch of the business, the generation of customers, the generation of the revenue to make it worth it. And that's what we kind of learned back then. And it's what we've been working on kind of incrementally trying to figure out those pieces, the marketing pieces. And now that we have these marketing coming in to assist me in it, we're going to be working on the systemization of the marketing campaigns and things, kind of putting our business processes in place. If that all goes well, we will start to take the domain names off of our shelf. Some of them will be relaunched, and some of them are going to be not sure how well the sound and stuff is working. I see the video is super lagged. Okay, so anyhow, my computer, the video is super lagged, but hopefully you can still hear me and stuff. Long story short, though, we want to develop them out. We want to pull all these domains out of our inventory, put them out into the world, and start to actually grow and establish businesses that generate revenue. So, and then we want to do that for other domain names, help the others that are that have domains that can bring value to the world, just putting a business on it. We want to talk you into developing your domain name instead of waiting for a buyer for it. And then you can make money and run it as a business, or passively running it as a business, to where you don't really have to do anything more other than just say, I'm not going to sell this stinking thing right now. That's the key thing. Anyhow, but then your domain names can generate money for you. And instead of just selling a domain name, you'll be selling a domain name that generates revenue. There's a lot. I'd love to just rant and rave on this. It's pretty much what I spend all my time thinking about. So again, looking through messages. So not everybody, almost no one's getting a message back from me. So my video back. Okay, there we go. I don't know if it's this whole show every week is ran on my super old Windows laptops or Microsoft laptops, Surface laptops. Anyhow, like this one, anyhow, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I'm a tech guy, but I hate buying technology. And unfortunately, I get a little quiet as I'm reading through messages because, again, I am not going to reveal kind of what people are messaging out of respect for all you peeps. Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. Oh wow. People bringing out their A stuff. Okay, so far, okay, let me give it a summary real quick. Here's what we've been doing today. Last night, looking at the year ahead, still have lots of planning, figuring out 2021. So last night, though, I was looking ahead at the next year, and I realized that towards the end of the year, we are going to be ready to launch more domain names, take domain names off of our shelf and develop them and put businesses on them. And at the same time, I wanted to make sure that any transactions that I completed happened this year, so that way we can use funding from this year to do that. And basically, as you probably know if you're watching this, decided that we're going to go on a little bit of a shopping spree. The idea being buying 1- and 2-word domain names, local services, all.com, English, and we're looking for premium. We're looking for domain names that especially help or define a local service. So the examples that we've given, we purchased this morning, ductcleaners.com. We already own and run, well, right now everything's closed down because of COVID, but photobooth.com, djs.com, towing.com is up and running. So those kinds of domain names are the primary ones we're looking for. We're not looking necessarily just to buy domain names. We're looking to buy domain names that we can develop next year. Hopefully sooner, but in reality, everything takes longer than what it should. In fact, I saw a meme that any math geeks out there might enjoy, which was anytime you set a deadline, anytime you set a timetable, you should always multiply it by pi. Why you should do that is because then it's pi is irrational. So anyhow, I messed up that punchline. But pi is an irrational number, so gosh, my brain, more coffee. Uh, So here's one of the things Super Brander's asking is it worth spending time on development when the right domain can sell without it? And the answer is complicated. Um, and it really comes down to your motivations in life. Like a lot of domain investors, possibly you, many people have day jobs. They run companies and stuff and do domain investing as a hobby behind the scenes. So in that case, there's like zero chance that you're going to want to launch into a domain development project. Completely understandable. Um, in many of the big domainers that are out there, they run companies. They are not looking to develop new businesses. Uh, so in most of them will tell you, like, don't bother messing with development. I say, well, first of all, everything I do is domain development. So I'm a huge fan. You have domain investors that are like never develop on one side, and then you have me who all I do is develop domains. I don't buy domains really. Very seldom do I buy domains for investment. I buy them to develop. So they've got two sides of things. For most people, unless you're a coder or whatever, my advice is always find something that you're passionate about. Find that one industry that you're passionate about. Find the best possible domain you can in that industry, and then maybe develop that one. Do it simply. Do it a basic business to where you can do it passively, to where it's kind of sitting in the backside. Like you spend 3 hours a week on it, 4 hours a week. That's kind of what I advocate for. So when somebody asks, like, should we spend it on domain development? The answer is, like, you can do one. Just do one. Don't try to do them all. It's not just me. Like, I have a company. I have people that help me do this stuff. In fact, like, I, for the most part, just get in their way half the time anymore. And for the most part, I need to get out of their way and help them do their stuff. So if you're kind of out to do this on your own, you find a domain name, you find some simple business that you can put on it, you get started. It's one of the things I talk about all the time. You get started, you find a way you can use that domain name to bring value to people, and then you do exactly that. You bring some value to them. How does that work? Well, I talk about it, during my show, but only one person owns a domain name, right? The best domain names that are out there, only one person can have it, even though the best domains, thousands and thousands of companies would love to own it. They could benefit from it. Well, in that case, the domain development that you're looking to do is simply to share that domain name in whatever way you can. That can be a directory type site. It can be something just like featuring a few companies on that site. You do what you can at your skill level using the tools and things that are available nowadays to help you even do codeless development. And then you work your butt off trying to make sales to get people on there. One of the secrets that I don't know if I talk much about it because it gets a little complicated, but I'll share it here. One of the things that we do, though, is get the users to help develop the site. User-generated content. I need to talk about that sometime. That's everything to what we do. So get your users, get the people that are in this industry doing stuff. They benefit from posting their awesome stuff out there because that's why they want the domain name themselves anyways, right? So you let them do it by providing them tools or whatever. And next thing you know, the site's showing up in the search engines, generating traffic, generating more business for them, and hopefully more business for you. And you make a few $1,000s a month. And hopefully, eventually, if the domain and industry is good enough to you, you can make tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So there's no simple answer to it. It has to be the right domain name. It has to be something you're interested in. Don't waste your time on, like, I just bought ductcleaners.com. I've had my ducts cleaned at my house. I don't know anything, don't really care to be involved in that industry. But what I do care about is the thousands of companies, the thousands of people that are out there that use duct, that do that for a living, that serve their customers by cleaning people's air systems. And if I can help that person grow their business or live their best life, then that gets me excited. So I'm excited about helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses. So that allows me to do multiple websites and different industries. But for you, if you're a domainer or you have a day job, find the one domain that you're excited about that has something to do with a passion of yours and move things forward. So hopefully that makes sense. For example, I even do this with the domain names. We bought, just as everything was getting closed down, we bought, I think Tour Guides, it was tourguides.com. We bought it for like 20K or something. Great domain name. I love it. And the reason why I bought that was because I love travel. I'm a huge travel fan. I've always been trying to find domains that allow me to work in things I'm passionate about. So travel, tour guides, and tour guides just so happens to work with both me helping entrepreneurs and people grow their own private businesses, but also I get to go and I can travel and help and meet people in person and stuff. Same with bartenders.com. I bought that this year. Bartenders. I like sitting at a bar, talking to bartenders, being like, it's part of what I enjoy doing. So now I have travel related alcohol, like it's fun stuff. So if I was to do nothing else, I could take one of those sites and put my love and attention on it and grow it as a business. So yeah, and the user generated content it's like everything. This is it is seriously the one thing that all the biggest companies do it. I've talked about it. I've done keynote speeches and things on it. User generated content. So there's a whole industry for content marketing where it's like, oh, create content with the purpose to, rank in the search engine and stuff. The thing is like you have to pay people. Those people have to research. Like it's kind of a disaster. Well, wouldn't it make more sense if you can have experts in that field create content for you, and that content they create benefits them, but also benefits you and your site? Like, it doesn't seem like it's anything special, but there's not too many people doing it except for the largest companies out there. Think about what Facebook, Twitter, all these different companies, their entire business model is based on you typing in and sending your content to them. And then other people come and view that content. And next thing you know, you have ads. All we're doing is breaking it down and doing it in these industries, these niches and stuff. Nothing special about it. Most people probably see what we do and go, oh, it's boring. It's simple. But realistically, why get crazy with your innovation? Why not just do something simple really well and help a lot of people at the same time? Make a living. So domains continue to come in. Let me see here. Logistics domains. Austin. I'm not looking for geo domains, so domains that have to do with a location. So there you go. Just kind of mention that out there. So I don't know, good stuff, right? I enjoy this stuff. So I was really hoping that I'd be able to buy a couple more domains. Maybe I'm missing them. I'm seeing good domains coming in. So we, I wish I could share some of the domains that I see. These are such good, some really great domain names are being mentioned to us outside of our price range. We're looking at any price range, but we're looking, up to 5-figure domain names. We're open to low 6-figure domain names, but We're looking towing.com caliber domain names, industry defining type domain names. And it would also have to be a domain name that ties into something we're already doing, like a little bit. Like we'd have to have an in, because of course, if we're going to buy it, we want to get money going on a six-figure domain name. We'd need to make sure that it's generating revenue like next week. So. Oh. Sorry, gotta. And this is a very impromptu show. Like I said, I got my lunch here, and uh, I am kind of living my best life at the same time. Okay, let me get to a different camera. I'll share some screens so that way I'm not so big as I eat my lunch, because I need some more calories. Madness. Okay, here we go. So this is the thread that kind of started the chaos that is unfolding currently, that we're looking for five-figure, six-figure domain names. And then I added to it that we're looking specifically local services, and we'd love it to be connected to one of our existing industries. Yeah, I am. Rick just kind of mentioning, being a programmer and developer. Um, you know, uh, I I haven't programmed. I, I do some very basic type coding nowadays, but the guys in my office take care of all the code, um, of course. So yeah, but I am self-taught programmer. I've programmed and coded, done web development for many years, and but luckily I'm to a place where I can let the experts take care of it rather than me spending time on it. So, um, but yeah, you may need to either learn to code. Like, I don't know. I'm a huge fan. Like, if you learn to code, like, it's not even about the code that you can do, it's about what you can create. Or, maybe you've always wanted to learn how to play piano, or you've always wanted to learn how to paint, and maybe you've never done those things because you lacked, kind of the motivation necessarily to be good at it. Because realistically, what are you going to do? Play some piano for your family or something? Paint a picture to put on your wall? The motivation's not there. But coding is art, where you get to create. You get to create something that wasn't there before, and you can also do things that add to the world, like this whole circle of life that we get to do. I don't know. I love doing anything that allows me to create. Now, I'm a freak, though. I get that I'm not a normal cat, but like, learn how to code. Like, it opens up so many different things. Like, I know plenty of guys even older than me that are learning how to program. My mom even learned like some HTML and style sheets and stuff as of one point. My wife, who is her degree's in interior design, and she handles like some books and some detail oriented stuff. She learned some HTML and some basic stuff for back when our business was first starting. There's no harm in developing the skills. It's not even skills. Like, you could think of it as skills, but you're solving puzzles, you're solving problems, you're working out your brain. And it just so happens that what you paint with is code that can create stuff that other people can use and be entertained by or get value from. My daughter, who's 6, loves Minecraft. Like, she just is obsessed. Like, she wakes up, opens the door and has the tired eyes, and immediately she wants to come to me and talk about Minecraft. And my older son now, who's about to turn 19, he did the same thing when he used to play Minecraft, just obsessed with it. It's kind of like, well, that people created Minecraft, people programmed that. Like, you can create things yourself, and like, but you got to learn, some of the skills. Anyhow, I love coding. I don't do it anymore, but it's only because I know I need to spend my time on other things. And actually, I was just talking to Chaz, who sits behind me, who's one of my programmers and a friend that's helped me. He's been here since, gosh, 06. Anyhow, he's been with me for a long time, and was employee number one when we did towing.com and stuff. And I was like, hey, maybe I just need to get rid of Visual Studio and no longer code. I just haven't been in there in such a long time, and realistically, it's not going to be part of what I do anymore. And he's like, well, you never know. And I agree. I never know. I enjoy doing it. So anyhow, anybody that's out there, there's places you can learn how to code for free, like codeacademy.com. I think you still get some free stuff there. Khan Academy as well. There's places you can learn how to code for free, and it's good stuff. So, and you can start, HTML, CSS. Those are very basic things. They're not even programming as much as they're the framework of what the internet's based on. Then you add in JavaScript, which allows you to move things around on the web browser. Like, you want to make something flash or make something grow larger or smaller. JavaScript. Now, JavaScript's a little bit of a pain in the butt. I'm choking on some quinoa here. But JavaScript, you learn some very basics. You don't need to be an expert at JavaScript, but then you figure kind of what path you want to go down. You got, unfortunately, numerous camps. You have kind of the Microsoft camp, which is where we fall into. We do Visual Basic coding, C# coding. Everything's kind of, that Microsoft Visual or Microsoft Object, .NET type stuff. And here you go. This is my coder, Matt, here. He's another, he started from Code Academy. Like, there you go. Code Academy. Like, it's, I think somebody said that a lot of stuff they do now, they charge for, but it's because they do it so well, they can charge. Like, they're going to change your life. Like, if you're a, 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, and you're like, I don't know what to do with my life. I guess I'm just going to spend freaking $20,000 a year at college or something. Why? Like, sit in your parents' basement, learn how to program, create crazy stuff, and then eventually, like a year and a half later, you're going to be valuable to the marketplace. You can code for other people, make good money, or you can buy a domain name, create a little business, and make money that way. And yeah, Matt mentions PHP. So you have the Microsoft route, then you got kind of that PHP. I think it's PHP, that path. But anyhow, I don't know it because I don't mess with it. But there's different paths that you can take. And then there's JavaScript frameworks and things that you can go down. Anyhow, it's a rabbit hole that we go down pretty frequently here. We also we've changed the once you've really learned the syntax and the language of coding, you can switch programming languages with effort. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. A domain name that I was interested in just got back to me. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go back over here, go to my notifications, share out my screens again because I want to eat some. Let a guy eat some food while I look through domain names. So keep them coming though. Keep looking over some of the domains if you have any. if you know somebody. So I'm looking up, Jason had mentioned banquethalls.com. Just seeing if that guy gets any traffic over on his existing domain name. It's not really, it's an old developed site, so it's old school. So as you can see here, there's very little authority, nearly nothing as far as SEMrush goes. So there you go. Anyhow, I'm just researching that domain a little bit. Jason Shepard has banquethall.com, which is a pretty good keyword. And it ties into our industry, which is the DJ's wedding event type stuff. We have bartenders and DJs. We have other ones. I can't remember them. That's the downside of having so many domain names. You kind of forget them and you stumble across them at some point and you go, oh my gosh, we have this domain name and it's just sitting there and oh, we've damaged the world. I'm going to try to play some music real quick. Hopefully it's not too loud. Oh, yeah. Matt mentioned PhotoBoost. PhotoBoost.com is up as well. So kind of right around those event type things. Getting a chair set up so I can actually. I've been standing this whole time, so. And I do appreciate everybody that's kind of chatting and, kind of bringing domains, talking any kind of domains, questions related stuff that you have. Feel free to bring it to my attention. I love talking about this stuff. I can talk while I serve. And well, I can't talk while I eat, but neighbors are leaving. Okay. I think I am nearly all caught up on the Twitter messages, which was the goal that I had. I've not really seen any additional ones. So let me kind of hit the summary a little bit. As my energy level goes down a little bit, and I'm probably due for some more coffee. We are out to, by the end of the year, close on several new domain names. We're looking for domain names that are local domain names, .com. And by local, we're looking for local services. So these are domain names that define an industry. For example, DJs, they're local guys that go and DJ. Towing, towing companies, same kind of thing. Local services are great ones that we like. We want the exact match domain name. The range between anything, 5 figures, low 6 figures we're looking to go up to. We bought ductcleaners.com so far today. We're open to additional domain names. Realistically, though, we're looking for good domains that tie into our existing business some way. Transportation, travel, events. Those are kind of the key ones that we're looking for. Hopefully they kind of fall into the map of what we want to do over the next year, because we are buying for the purpose of development. We have a plan to be able to develop more domain names by the end of 2021, to where hopefully we'll be able to start churning out domain names that we have in our portfolio. And yes, we will be looking for partners. We will be looking for what I call the industry champions, people to essentially kind of run those businesses down the road. More on that probably this summer. So, but if you have a domain name that I won't be able to purchase, then so be it. Here's Rick brings up one, and this is one that events halls, Rick, that middle S from domain to profit. I'm always like, that middle S is how it's kind of it's the domaining. I'd say 201. So many different registrars and people sell off the domains with that middle S. And that middle S kills that domain. That like eventshalls.com is not it's a near miss. That one letter just like completely devastates that domain names. And I find, especially when people, if you don't speak English isn't your first language, they own a lot of those domains with that middle S. And unfortunately, like events halls, I don't see that domain name ever doing anything. Not meaning to beat up on specifically that domain name. I don't know if that's yours or not, but I see that a lot. We own, for example, towing companies, but if it was towing's company, it kind of it just kills it. Like it's towings or events make sense. Events make sense. Halls make sense, but you put those two words together and suddenly it just loses like everything. The bottom falls out. So, hopefully I can help you and others kind of avoid that. That's one of those traps that I see so many, even of the domain names that come across the Twitter feed today, with S's in the middle. And it's basically it made sense. Individual words, they made sense, but you put them together and suddenly it just doesn't go together. So, that's anyhow. So any thoughts about, company events? It's good. It's a missed domain for me. So companyevents.com. So it's a good domain name. Like if I owned it, I'd hold it. I'd probably develop it, but it's going to be like a C-level domain. It wouldn't be something I'd be thinking that it wouldn't be something we would develop this next year. I'm really looking for domains that I think are better than a lot of our kind of lower tier domain names. That's what I'm trying to find. I want to shift. If I was to put all of our domains in a big list that we plan on developing, I'm trying to find domains that insert like higher than the ones that we have. So for example, let me try to come up with something like buildinginspectors.com, I believe is us. I love the domain name. Completely good to develop. We will as of some point, but it's building. It's just such a like the words are so long, kind of in like a lot of letters. They don't just a gut feel more than anything else. I don't like it as much as other domain names. So it kind of keeps getting pushed back, even though it would be a good business, be worth it. Peter Askew, he owns landsurvey.com, I think is land survey or land surveys. Anyhow, it's one of the domains that it's same for him. Like he owns it. He knows it would be a good business, but he doesn't develop it because it's not, it's a someday project. I don't want someday projects for this. I want projects that will be this year or 2021. So virtually around, travel virtually. I've had enough virtual travel. Just got this over on Periscope, the Twitter video, virtually around. Yeah, I'm so no virtual travel. I'm tired of it. I love travel. I want to travel. Where's it? We were supposed to go. NamesCon Europe was supposed to be, I think, Budapest or something this year. Freaking getting the like that was supposed to be the new country I was seeing this year. I've had a goal to see a new country every year, and I've had this for quite some time, and I've seen many, many places. I travel quite often, and that was supposed to be where I was supposed to go this year, I believe, and as well as other countries that I've already been to. But anyway, it was a bummer to have that canceled. So this will be the first year in quite some time that I'm not asking. We're all in it together, right? And I got a couple more messages coming in that I'm checking out. And if you are watching and you're messaging me and not hearing back from me, unfortunately, as you might have guessed, you can see there's several hundred messages on the thread. There's just as many direct messages and stuff. So I'm not responding to direct messages unless I want to move things forward a little bit. So just kind of a heads up. I would love to chat to every single person out there. I really would. But unfortunately, I just can't. I can't do it. So I do have a couple messages that were hidden down here that I did not look at yet. I'm reading messages. Sorry, it's inside jokes. I can't even share them with you because, again, anything that's messaged to me privately, I'm keeping private. So, actually, let me go to this one first. Matt's asking. So, as you can see back here, we have Toby Head here. This is Toby, our towing.com mascot. Down here is the unnamed DJs.com penguin, which everything got shut down as we were starting to launch DJs.com and photobooth.com. And basically, those industries got decimated this year. So we've pretty much just put on the brakes of those, and we'll start to relaunch them again next year. So we have mascots for a lot of our different businesses. I am an advocate for having a mascot. Businesses need faces, and unless you're going to be in front of a camera, being the face of your business, have a mascot. So I do another kind of a business talk on that. But Matt asks, is a cockroach going to be the building inspector's mascot? That's actually a pretty good. That'd get some attention for sure. I don't know, mascot. It's better than trying to do a radon or some kind of other thing. So yeah. And you can go. The first version of any mascot we buy it for cheap. We usually get them for like $500 or so. Yes, made in China. But then what we do is we customize them. And actually, my mom, who does some part-time work here at the company, she works on them. She'll sew things together, add fans and different things. So anyhow, it's a blast. I love small business, man. This stuff's good. Never want to be big. What about geodomains? Yeah, let me see. Asking about geodomains. Yeah, we're avoiding geodomains right now. I don't. Our business model doesn't go with them perfectly, so we're kind of avoiding them. Here, let me see. And then Rick asked, how many domains would you develop in a year based on what's your average business year? So a couple years ago, we did a kind of a web show called From Thought to Profit. From Thought to Profit. And during that show, over the course of, I think, 3 months, we bought domain names, developed them, and tried to launch them with the goal of making like $25K a month or something. We can develop domain names really quickly. That year, I think we developed and put out businesses on quite a few. Typically, we do about 3, but what we've learned over the last year is we need to concentrate on our primary businesses. So this year, 2020, has been focused on pretty much towing.com with some sidebars to since we got locked down, we focused on our primary business, I guess I should say. COVID has been a little bit of it allows us to put our blinders on to other projects, and we focused on our main ones, which we plan on doing even into the new year. But then eventually we're going to get back to developing out the domain names that are in our portfolio. So basically this year we launched a couple different domain names, but we've relaunched photo booths and was launching DJs. Those got nixed. So we've not done much this year. Next year could be crazy. Like I have no idea how many different domains. What I would really like more than what we're going to develop and launch as businesses is I'm hoping that those who watch From Domain to Profit, as we talk about developing domain names and turning them into businesses, I'm hoping that lots of domain names are getting developed and lots of businesses are being created, not because of us developing them and creating them, but hopefully us encouraging and helping others do it. Because I want domains to be developed. Like I want people to win and have opportunities, and lots of good stuff comes from this stuff. Yeah, so it's hard for me to estimate. As I kind of mentioned, we are working on some tools that will allow us to pretty much just point the domain name to our set of tools, select what different services we want to include in that domain name, and then we'll be able to nearly, upload a logo, color scheme, some style stuff, and basically we'll be able to launch a business probably, like our hope is like an hour of setup, and we have a business launched. Then as of that point, it's a matter of marketing and so on. So that's what we're working on now is marketing systems, and we're going to be doing that for most of the next year. So marketing will be working hard, then developers will be working on the new tools. And so next year, by the end of the year, who knows? Maybe we'll have a dozen different businesses launched. I only want to do them if we can do them good, though, or if we can do them well, if we can make money, bring value, and have success, not just for us, but for our customers and the other entrepreneurs that are out there. So good stuff. Thanks for asking. If for anybody out there that's necessarily maybe watching, sorry, I'm sitting down now, so but anybody that looks to start a business, but maybe not on a domain name or whatever. If you've never heard of the guy named Pat Flynn, you can Google him, smartpassiveincome.com. He just, like, that's all he does, man, is just create stuff that makes passive income. Really good guy to follow if you're interested in starting a business, creating a passive income, 100, 500, thousands of dollars a month, how to create a product, how to put together a training course, all kinds of stuff. Been doing it for a long time. So you might want to check out Pat Flynn, FLYNN. He's a good one. He's been streaming every single day for the last since March. Crazy talk. Since everybody got quarantined, every single day, including weekends. He's like part of why I ended up doing this. I'm like, gosh, if you're doing this every single day, certainly I can do once a week. He has a good team behind him as well, though. So, okay, let me see here. Got a message from somebody from Cincinnati. Always enjoy hearing from Cincinnati peeps, especially in the domain name arena. I'd love part of the reason I love NamesCon and in-person stuff is getting together and hanging out with everybody. Like right now, I'm a guy sitting here, we're hanging out, but it's through a lens and through a camera and through a screen. It's like so much better just have a cup of coffee or have a drink together. Do this stuff in person. Good stuff. I'm currently looking through, again, messages continue to come in through Twitter. About 1 in 100 of them include domains that are of interest. It's, criteria is out there that I'm looking for, but I get it. It's everybody has their domains. You're all scrapping, trying to. Unfortunately, it means that I'm clicking on a lot of domain names that are not local, a lot of non.coms, not necessarily what we're looking for. And of course, as you may have noticed, I'm not messaging back on most of these. I still love you, but I can't. Hundreds and hundreds of messages. I'd love to say hi to everybody, but unfortunately, this is as good as it gets. Hopefully, this is okay. All right. Get off my lawn. And of course, direct messages are kept private. That's part of why I'm not reading these out or anything like that or sharing the screen. Direct messages are private. Everything else I'll share. And I will say this: somebody never fix a typo with me. If you have a typo in your language, I'm like the world's worst speller. I'll talk for hours. You'll hear me say all kinds of crazy nonsense that doesn't quite fit any kind of language. Language is fluid. Language is does somebody understand it? Then that's all that matters. I say common phrases wrong. I don't have any. I can't think of one off top. I can never think of an example. But I say common phrases wrong all the time. There's my wife says "man alive." That's one of those phrases. Like I say those things wrong all the time. And anyhow, cares if I say it wrong? Do people understand what the heck I'm saying? Then it's fine. But yeah, I get that there's the grammar police. I am not the grammar police. Okay, check the notifications, and I'm going to be wrapping up here shortly. My energy level is dropping, and that probably means that it's time to get the camera off. And hey, I feel I guess it's only been a couple hours, but I've not had to go to the bathroom or anything. Like I don't know. That seems like all this water and coffee I'm drinking. I've already had like numerous cups of coffee before I ever got on the camera. I feel like that's like a round of applause for Drew's bladder. Oh man. Again, just messages keep coming in. This is fun. Unfortunately, a lot of them are uh, not many offers going out or anything. But okay, let me see. See, I'm a bad guy to ask on this kind of stuff. Would event fulfilled be worth a shot? What do you mean by worth a shot? Worth a shot of developing? Um, Let me. I know you watch from the show. I use this image here during the show. Hopefully you can see this. Let me try to get it to the camera. Oh, there we go. So I use this here, this image. And of course, it's the idea that you can build a business on any domain name. You can build Google on Google, even though no one knew what the hell a Google was prior to. You can buy and sell any domain, really. Like anything can happen. But realistically, when I talk about domain development and what we look to do, we look to take the value that's part of a domain name and then just pull some revenue out. We look for this. The domain is valuable. It matters to people. And we try to pull some of that value out over time in the form of monthly reoccurring funding. So in the case of like eventfulfilled.com, it doesn't fit my business model all that well. Of course I don't have an interest in it, but man, you could do anything with anything. Like think about some of the domain names that are out there. You can build any business you want. But the thing is you're building on top of the foundation. You have a domain name, you're building, and you're trying to draw and build something on that land. Is the value there? Event fulfilled. I don't like the domain name. I don't see a lot of authority. Authority being if you were to call somebody and be like, hey, Rick, I'm with eventfulfilled.com. We would love to have you listed. We'd love to have your business. Event Fulfilled would probably, they'd hear it and they'd go, I'm sorry, what? What is it? Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't. Now, if I call a towing company and we're like, hey, I'm Drew with towing.com, a towing company immediately associates like authority with it. Like that domain name, even before we launched anything, it creates curiosity, if nothing else. Who is it that owned towing.com? Towing.com, what is this? I didn't even know about this. Like suddenly, like there's something to it. There's an authority associated with it. So that's kind of what we're looking for, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. So I think that kind of lacks with the Event Fulfilled. Now it is, of course, going to be, one of those things where you go off your own judgment, your own intuition. I think that you can hand reg domains that are going to be higher. Like you could find hand reg domains all the time that are a couple $100 or less that are really good domain names. In fact, just yesterday, here's a little. Just yesterday I bought a GoDaddy auction, zeroliability.com. Zeroliability.com. And how much would you think I paid for zeroliability.com? Zero liability. Zeroliability.com. Something you probably see on numerous advertisements. It's something that could tie into insurance. It could tie into all kinds of different. Anyhow, long story short, I think I paid like $175 for zeroliability.com. So what you kind of got to ask yourself is, if you had $175 to spend, you're going to spend it on zero liability, or you got to weigh it all together. Like if you call up an insurance company, you're like, "Hey, this is Drew. I'm with zeroliability.com," and suddenly they're going to be like, that phrasing sounds like something they've heard or said a bunch. So suddenly, like you have an in, you have a foot in the door. So. Truck insurers. I got beat out the other day. Actually, I think they pulled the auction, but there was a truck insurance type domain name that I really, really wanted. Lee, like truck. Oh, sorry. I guess I can put this up on the screen so other people know what I'm talking about. Like for the most part, I truck insurers. I can't remember what the domain name was. I think it was truckinsurance.com or something like that. Hey, Lee, if you want to mention like if you is truckinsurers.com. If you have that, DM me a price or whatever. I'm kind of curious, but I'd be looking for a bargain on it because it's not my favorite, but because I missed out on a domain name a few weeks back for truck insurance or something like that. What was it? Anyhow, it was a domain name. I got distracted and it ended up going. It went for at least a reasonable price. I think it went for like $1,200 or something. But I really wanted that domain name. But since I missed out on that, I'm not against it. Like that's a good example of like truck insurers. Like it's a little hard to say, which I don't like, but if you think about what we're going to do on towing.com and transportreviews.com, and we're of course big in the logistics and trucking, all those trucking companies need insurance. And so truckinsurers.com could be an angle, could be something that ties into that. Let's go over to the screen share. I still have not finished my lunch, by the way. I'm going to take a bite as I go over to here. Oh, gosh, I don't know what was up on the screen. Somebody's going to analyze my screens and call me a liar. If you need me to mute or anything, I will, Chuck. Okay, so Truck Insurers, the tongue twister that is Lee's domain name, 6,000 searches. And this is why I like the trucking type stuff. Because it's business to business, you get these high cost per clicks because the market's small. So, and we have that in, I want to say it was truckinsurance.com. I'll look up, in fact, let me. So what I'm doing here is just looking up Federal Motor Bureaus, and I'm just going to look up a kind of a random company here. And the reason why I'm doing this is what I'm looking for is I'm looking for what they call insurance. And this is, I'm a truck, I deal in transportation quite often. So let me see, insurance. Dagnabbit, I thought there was a specific term. The domain name I missed out on, it was carrierinsurance.com, I think is what it was. So it was like the vice versa of this. So Lee, message me, man. I'm kind of curious about that domain name. Or you can put it on here, or I can bring you on live all the way from across the pond. What time is it there, man? Shouldn't you be in bed? But yeah, message me, Lee. We can possibly do something with that domain name. But yes, I'm interested in that just because it ties into. Um, Lost my mouse pointer. There it is over on that screen. How do I get it back over? Okay. Um, it ties into our transportation stuff. So we own a lot. Like we have probably the top portfolio in transportation logistics that there is. I mean, we're missing some key ones, but uh, we own, a lot of great transportation domain names. So we're trying to build out that web, from, uh, we're actually on domain to profit. We're building out trackingprograms.com. Well, we bought that as part of the show and we're kind of developing out over time. Well, that's GPS tracking, fleet tracking. That's part of transportation. Insurance is part of it. So you got the main sites, and then we're kind of building off these little niches as part of them that we can sell some and make some monthly recurring revenue. Okay, well, hit me with the price, or you can share it if you like. It doesn't have to be me that purchases it. Screen sharing. Sorry, it's an embarrassment. I'm an embarrassment. Okay. List of domains, email. And once again, I'm going to be getting off here. Now, I will continue to buy domain names. My one thing is that I need to be able to finish the domain transaction. I want to have it done by the end of the month, or by the end of the year and month. So let me see here. So yeah, there's that. What do we got here? I just ran across. I'll share this out. This is just a tweet. If you don't follow Peter, which I'm sure you do, if you follow me, you certainly follow Peter. But he backordered developer.com, and you'll see the punchline is yes, already scrubbed. Namejet always seems to frequently post domain names that are actually not available. So it's kind of like that's part of why I never mentioned them on the show. You can buy expired domain names and stuff through Namejet and Snap Names, but half the time with Namejet, they get pulled back because they're trying to sell somebody's domain name and somebody else already owns it. It's happened to me, in fact. Like, I think it was movingcompany.com ended up buying post auction. So I owned it. And next thing you know, they're trying to, like, it's showing up on their auction list again. I'm like freaking paranoid that they're about to pull this domain from me. Let me see here. Edward asks, do I prefer B2B over B2C? And the answer is yes. Business to business is my preference. I don't do much with consumers. Now, I like my customer. I want my customer to be the business. I want to deal with businesses. I want to make my money from the businesses and help those businesses. Now, the website's visitor, the traffic to the website is often consumers. So, but my customer is the business. So towing.com, for example, towing companies pay me, but the traffic to the site is people that need a tow. So, but I don't sell directly to customers, which would be B2C. I don't think I have a single. I mean, back in college when I sold spy software and stuff, that's the last time I sold to consumers. They're too finicky. Businesses are like, yeah, try it out. Let's go for it. When you're launching a business, especially launching a new service, launching a new revenue stream, the adoption curve. I don't know if there's a book called Crossing the Chasm, and talks about how whenever you launch something, there's going to be those early adopters, those people that take a chance on stuff early. They'll try the iPhone, iWatch, all those things early on, before it's proven. Well, the nice thing is in business, there's all kinds of businesses that are kind of like, hey, I'll go ahead and toss a few $100 at this. I'll toss some money at this and see how it goes. And you could find them usually pretty easy because business is competitive, it's scrappy. That doesn't translate over to consumers very often. A lot of times you just have to sell in a completely different way that, one, I don't have experience with, but two, I just don't want to, we're all consumers, we're all humans, it all works the same way, but consumers are so much less rational than businesses. So businesses, I like them being irrational and just kind of being like, yeah, do it. But then if something doesn't work out as well or whatever, like they don't lose their freaking mind. Like they're like, yeah, it's not working out, cancel it off or something. So hopefully that makes sense. But yes, business to business is the name of the game with me, as far as who my customer is going to be. But I like them to be, my customer is the business, but the website is used by the consumer. I want to provide value to the consumer. I don't want the consumer to be who pays me. They're so fickle. Often I think you have to trick consumers. I don't want to trick people into giving me being my consumer. We're so fickle, as you may know, in marketing sales, we are 100% emotional. All of our decisions are made by emotion. You don't buy your iPhone, your iWatch, a Ferrari. You don't buy like anything based on logic. You buy it based on the emotion it gives you. So like, that's just, it goes for anything. And consumers, you have to sell to that emotion in a way that, yeah, you sell it to businesses the same way, but businesses also care about the bottom line, the return on investment, and some things that they get the emotion partly from the logic. I don't know. And that's, I'm talking out of my ass on that. Like it's all emotional, even for businesses, but I just prefer businesses. So I come from sales. So unfortunately, my gift of gab comes from being able to bullshit about anything. And I try not to. I try to keep it down to my experience, things that actually mattered. So, because I know otherwise somebody out there will call me out on it. Well, okay, let me get this. The missus is back. Yeah, I'm still on. I'm about to get off though. I got one last message I'm going to look at, and then Lee, I'm going to be messaging you about those about the domain. I'm mainly only looking at truck insurers. That I'm curious as to what you're asking for those. Okay. I am at a stopping point in the messages in my Twitter feed and stuff. So, hey, I wish I could see who's actually watching. I'm kind of like, I'm sure a few of you have just kind of had me on the background for many hours. Hopefully it's been fun. Hopefully it's been, if you're sitting there isolated like we all are, hopefully we kind of kept each other company a little bit. I enjoyed this. I honestly wish I could just sit around chatting business all the time. I'd love it to be more two-way. I'd love to have somebody. I'd love us to be sitting around a table, having some coffee, having a drink, and talking business and stuff. I really just truly love. I love business. I love entrepreneurs. I love the risk takers, the people that create stuff, artists. Like it just. Anyhow. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll be in touch with anybody that I've not reached out to. And if you're out to develop domain name, please do. And you can join me on Mondays at 3:00. This next Monday will be the year-end show. I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida, so it's going to be me and my laptop, possibly with my daughter, like climbing all over me, because we're going to be on a little bit of a family trip. But I've managed to keep it, I think, 22 weeks in a row. I plan on making it 23 even in the middle of the holidays. So join me next week. Hopefully we'll have some good domains to talk about, and maybe I can update on what domains we end up buying here. Kind of summarize buying domain names, local services, and already got ductcleaners.com, and maybe hopefully going to talk Lee out of truckinsurers.com, maybe, or at least help them make some money off it. We can partner on that one too. But we looked at a bunch of different domain names. You can see it on my Twitter, Drew Wash like wash your hands. And okay, well, thanks for joining me. I hope if I don't, I probably won't see you, but whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is, I hope that you have a great holiday. I know all of us, it's going to be a different kind of year. I know for us, we don't get to, we do big family Christmases. I live in Cincinnati because I have so much family here, and usually we get together with like my grandparents and cousins and everybody, and we'll have 100 people in a little house. And then, I hang out with my parents, my brothers, sisters, and nieces, nephews, and we'll have another, 20 people somehow. But none of that's happening this year. So I know this year sucks for kind of all of us. But at the same time, hopefully you're going to have a great Christmas, great holiday season. And, think about this last year, but prepare for the hope and the amazing stuff that's going to come in 2020. That's very much what we're trying to do here. So take care.